Welcome back to another episode of Gman Fishing live stream edition. We are fishing on the Deschutes River for some steelhead. Doing jig and bobbers for the moment, anyways. So that's the title of the video, anyways, or the live stream. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. And hopefully my things are working properly. I don't know if they are or not. I did charge them up, so hopefully they're working. You guys can always tell me if it's not working or not. But yeah, so we're just gonna do a little jig and bobber fishing this morning. Hopefully you guys can hear me just fine. Can you hear me? Hello? Say hi if you can. So yeah, we're just jig and bobber fishing. Throwing it out there. Trying to get a steelhead for you guys on a live stream edition. Don't know if we will or if we won't, but hey, can you guys hear me? Hello? I hope so. If not, you guys would let me know, right? Let me try my other other one. Maybe this one's not working. So basically what we've done, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, glad you can hear me. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're starting out with the pink marabou jig, going to a swivel, going to a bumper line, and then got an addicted float on, made by Mustad and Addicted. And then I got a 15-pound bumper line, and then the 30-pound Power Pro high vis line for the main line. And so basically what we're doing is we're starting out at 3 feet and we're gonna fish in close. Okay, and then we're gonna work it further and further out, and then we're gonna start out with the 3 feet, and we'll go about 5, maybe 4, 5 feet, then 6, maybe 7 feet deep. And we're just today for steelhead on a jig and a bobber. So that's why the title is Jig and Bobber, fishing for steelhead. Whether or not we're going to be successful, I don't know, but we're going to go ahead and try it anyway. So it is a little chilly out, and I'm a little unstable for some reason. So, but anywho, yeah. So we're just starting in close. Like I said, going about 3 feet deep, something like that. And then we're just throwing it out there, and then we're gonna free spool it once it gets down past us. Anytime you see the rod go like this, or the reel, is because I'm mending the line, keeping the slack out of the line, so that when the float goes down, I'll be able to set the bail, set the hook, and hopefully hook and land a fish, or it might be a rock cod. See, I've got the depth almost down. I feel like, because I'm not getting hung up nearly as much, but you want that jig hit top and bottom once in a while when you're steelhead fishing in order to catch steelhead. It seems like if you're not tapping bottom once in a while, you're not catching fish. So it's important to be tapping bottom once in a while. And after the first of the year, I'll stop fishing for steelhead, and I'll start fishing for other fish like trout and stuff like that. I do have a trout video coming out from one of the reservoirs. I just haven't gotten around to editing it and all that other stuff. Yeah. And throwing out there, you can throw upstream as far as you like. That's preference. Because I like to throw upstream as far as I can if there's nobody fishing above me. And then I will throw upstream and I'll just keep mending the line, trying to keep the line behind the float instead of in front of the float, and just keep mending it until it gets down past me, opening the bill, letting it free spool, keeping an eye on that float. If it goes down, either you got a rock, you got a fish, or you got a limb or some seaweeds. Hopefully this is educational to some degree to you guys. In your body of water, if you're allowed to use scents and stuff, by all means use scents. I'm a strong believer that, hey, sometimes you got to add a little sauce on there to maybe help get you guys fish landed or hooked anyways. A lot of the fish that I've caught over the years doing this comes from throwing the float way upriver and just floating it down to them. I'm trying to catch steelhead, which is basically just a sea run trout. It goes out to the ocean, comes back, and comes back a lot bigger. So basically what they do is they're hatched here in the rivers, the fresh water, and then they take and they head off to the ocean, go out there for 3 to 5 years, come back bigger and stronger, and I don't know about more tastier, but you know, a lot of people like to eat them, so I'm guessing tastier. So, and the last video I put out, I landed a nice steelhead on that video. My buddy a couple weeks before that landed a nice 30-inch steelhead. So there are definitely some fish in the river. I've landed 2 hatcheries this year, which is nice. See, now that I feel like I've worked in close enough, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there further. I wish you guys could see it better, but I'm trying to talk to you guys, interact with you guys, and fish all at the same time. So hopefully you guys don't get too bored, and hopefully we're hooking up some fish. Yeah, it's definitely foggy out, but it's not too bad. I mean, it's not as bad as it was a couple of days ago. I mean, a couple of days ago it was horrible down here. See, anytime you see my hand go like that, it's because I'm mending the line, trying to keep my line above the float, not below it. And then once it gets so far down past you, the line's not going to go down in front of the float anyways. Because basically what's going to happen is the current's going to keep going, and the line and the current is going to slowly start pulling your bobber closer to the shore. That's what's going to happen. I probably should take some of the weights off of the Deschutes float because they come with, I think, 2 weights on there. And they are really heavy floats. So what I should do is take the weight off because I don't like how heavy it is. Because I'm using a 1/4 ounce jig head or I forget the other size of the jig head that I'm using. But basically these Deschutes floats, I'll show you real quick. They come with these brass or whatever kind of lead that is, and then you can put them on, take them off, and lighten it up. So, and I can show you real quick how to do that. Don't want to drop my reel in there. Give myself a little slack here. That way I can set my rod down without worrying about throwing it off or it bouncing off. So basically what you do with these is this rubber that they put on there to hold your float in the place. See, it slides off and on. See, and then you just take one of these, that O-ring right there. See, there's an O-ring right there, or a gasket, whatever you want to call it. You take that off. Make sure you don't lose it. That way you can put it back on your float. And I'm going to take one of these weights off because I feel like it's just too heavy. That's just my opinion, though. Some people like them heavier. Some people like them lighter. And then you put your O-ring back on there. Snug it up to your weight, and then you slide your surgical tubing. Basically, is what it is, a surgical tubing. Taking you, slide that all the way up, snug it close to your weight and your O-ring, and there you go. See, it's got a surgical tubing right here. It's that rubbery tubing, and then it's got the addictive float. It's got a hole through it, and then basically what it does is it keeps it level with the float and keeps the line up, straight up and down. And that's how you do it. And see, I got that weight off there. Shout out to Deschutes Fishing for coming up with some good products. I mean, I've used some of their products, and I say it's good. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of their floats just because a lot of times, in my opinion, they're heavy. Okay, back to fishing anyways. I just wanted to show you guys that. That way you guys know what I'm doing. And then when I pull out my slip float, I'll show you that one too. Basically what I do is I've got a set float for when I've got room to cast. I've got a slip float for when I don't have room to cast. Okay, let's try casting it now. Like I said, I'm going to cast further and further out there. And then eventually I'm going to adjust my depth to try different depths. Because they may not be biting at 3 feet. They might be biting at 5 feet. They might be biting at 7 feet, 8 feet. You just never know until you finally get hooked up. So it's good to try different depths. And basically keeping that rod tip pointed out where your float's going will also help keep you behind your float. And also making sure your reel is tightened down, because sometimes when you're casting and stuff like that, your hands hitting it and it's coming loose. Basically, is what's happening. That one I probably cast a little too far out there for what I'm doing, but that's okay because we can always come back and fish closer on the next cast. It's always good to fish as much of the river as you can. Fishing in close, fishing further out. It's going to improve your catch abilities. You're going to catch more fish if you can fish more of the river. So hopefully it's educational enough for you guys to stay interested. And even when I'm not catching fish, I don't want to bore people. I want people to enjoy what they're watching. A lot of fish in the river right now. If you're not fishing for steelhead, why not? Get out there, catch one of these beautiful beasts. Or fish, I guess, instead of beasts. They're out there waiting for you to set the hook. And then when you feel like you're done drifting, you just crank your arm back in and throw it back out there and drift down again. And always trying different colors can improve your chances of catching fish. Like the nightmare color. Last year I finally caught a fish on that, and fished it a few years without ever catching any fish on it. But I did catch fish on it last year. I definitely like the way it feels now that I got some of that weight off the float. That definitely. When you cast out there, sometimes you reel some of that slack in to help with your mending. Once you get it so far down there, like I said, you're just gonna start mending it, and then you're gonna open up that bill, and you're just gonna start letting that line, and then you'll stop and you'll mend it again until it gets to a point. Uh, no, it's the Deschutes River here in Oregon, along the Warm Springs Reservation, and the stateside is where I'm fishing. Um, yeah. So this river runs all the way down to the Columbia River. So I'm thinking it's looking like I'm building up a little ice. That's how cold it is this morning. I didn't know if I was going to live stream or not, but I wanted to. Okay, we're going to go ahead and adjust our float. Now I'm just doing a guesstimation on how far I'm moving it up and down. Now I'm saying I'm right here, I'm at about 3 feet deep. So I want to move it up another 2 feet and go about 5 feet. So, and that would be a little more than 5, maybe 5.5 feet deep is what I moved it to. So, which is fine. It don't have to be an exact science unless the fish are just that picky. How much did the float cost? Well, I don't know. I think they're like $5.99. Kind of spendy, but I'm a fisherman. I'm a YouTuber. I'm going to try different things. So, yeah. Yeah, Oregon's Northwest, Pacific Northwest. You see a lot of advertisements for people fishing in the Pacific Northwest. So yeah, I'm in the Pacific Northwest. Like I said, I'm in Oregon. I'm on the Deschutes River. You can look that up and see where that's at. So now that we made an adjustment on our float and our depth, we're going to go ahead and start casting in close again and work it further out. Hello, how you doing? Bulldog, huh? Cool. Potato Extreme. Oh, really? Wow. So, and we're just going to start working in close again. Because we didn't get a bite in close earlier with the at 3 feet deep, doesn't mean that if we make that adjustment that we're not going to get bit in deep in close. So we want to make sure to go ahead and fish it again after we've made that adjustment to the float. Well, I'd like to fish Washington and Idaho. That would yeah, that'd be fun, because just be more places to be able to fish, you know. You know, the ultimate goal and dream for, I think, any YouTuber is to get out and make content, travel, do different things. So that would be sweet to be able to go to those other 2 states, even California and Nevada and all those other places. I would like to do as well. So that would definitely be cool. Like I think Washington's got pike, and I'd like to catch a pike. I've yet to catch a pike, even though I grew up in Missouri. I've not caught a pike in my life. Let's see. Where are we at? Oh, I'm good too. I'm enjoying the chilly, brisk morning. Guides are freezing up a little bit. It's a little chilled, which is nice. That's what you want when you're steelhead fishing anyways. You don't want it to be 100 degrees, because then you're probably not going to catch one at 100 degrees. But yeah, I'm good. I'm looking for the sea run trout, which they consider a steelhead, which is what they are, is a sea run trout. Instead of it being just a regular stationary trout that only stays in the freshwater, basically a steelhead is a rainbow trout that's born in freshwater. It goes out to the saltwater for 3 to 5 years or something like that, and then comes back to spawn. And that's what a steelhead is. Yep, the steelhead run in the Deschutes, the Sandy River. I've never fished the Sandy River. I should I should go fish some of this winter run steelhead they got over there. I don't know if I'll ever make it, but I mean it's like I think an hour and a half away from here, so it ain't too bad of a drive. I just for whatever reason have not made it. I made it to the coast for a couple of trips over there. Um, over the years, but for some reason I've never fished the Sandy River. We got the Sandy River, we got the Columbia River, we got the um, oh, I can't tell you all the rivers that got steelhead run in it. The John Day River. I seen a video posted where they were catching steelhead out of the John Day River. So I've always fished that after the first of the year for steelhead, but I've yet to fish it this time of year for steelhead. But maybe one of these years I'm gonna get over there and try and catch, because over there you can use bait for steelhead, but here on the Deschutes you can't use bait. You can only use artificial flies and lures, and then you can't use soft plastics. They got to be hard baits, basically. When it is plastic. And then now I'm gonna go start working it out further and further. And then after I'm done drifting with this, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the other float rod and show you it, and start using it. And that's with the slip float, um, which is nice when you don't have room to cast, because the slip float you can reel all the way to the tip of your rod, throw it out there, give you a little more room for castability. Throw it out there, and then what it does is it slips down to depth with the slip float. So that's pretty cool. And that's like if you don't have any room. And a lot of people will throw that on a spinning reel like that, but I don't use too many spinning reels when I'm steelhead fishing. I do a lot of steelhead fishing with bait casters and stuff like that. And I do have my other two rods with me for steelhead fishing, but this video is what the title says. This is float fishing basically. But I don't know, if somebody asked me to pull out the hardware, I might. I'm not saying that I will, but I might. And then just work it further out there and further out there and further out there. After this cast, I'll show you guys my guide so you can see that it's that cold out here. It's freezing up. Okay, well, we don't need those kind of comments um, on the channel, for real. I don't know why you. Oh, well, hello from the Sentinel Islands, is that what it says? I don't even know where that's at. Well, hello there. Glad you could join us. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Uh, some of the comments we get on channels like this are, yeah, we need to keep the comments pleasant, please. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys. Um, see, there's ice in my guides. See, and the further up I get, the more the guides are closing for the ice. So it is pretty chilly this morning. That's for sure. I want to show you guys the very tip of my rod, but it's going to be hard to do that because I got such a long rod. Maybe if I come over here to this rock here, maybe I can get you guys somewhat of a look at the tip. See how icy that is? Yeah. So it's just fairly cold out here. Definitely at that freezing level. So. No, I haven't caught a fish today. I haven't. So basically what happens when my guides get frozen like that, I just stick the tip of the rod in the water. That way I can cast. And it unthaws it, and then I can go back to fishing. Casting without having the issues. And that's going to be the problem with my other gear, is because they're not spinning rods, so they're a little bit harder to cast when the guides are freezing up and stuff. So. Just remember to mend those lines. Keep your line above your float instead of letting it drift down past your float. So, and yeah, that's float fishing for steelhead for you, with the stationary float. And yeah, I mean, I didn't get a bite, but float didn't go under. But you know, it's just trying to give you guys ideas of how to do it and stuff like that. I would love to catch a fish, but I don't predict when the fish are going to bite, you know, which makes it hard, you know, for live streaming and stuff like that. But, you know, it's unfortunately, that's how it goes sometimes. We're not always able to command a fish to bite. So we're on the Deschutes River in Oregon is where we're at. We're in Oregon, which is in the Pacific Northwest. Fishing for sea run trout, basically, is what we're fishing for. And after this cast, I think we're going to go ahead and switch to the other rod, just so I can show you guys how that setup is and what it looks like and stuff like that. Now you don't have to use braid because it's a little more expensive of line, but it does help out using braid. So especially when you're float fishing, because the braid floats, so it stays on top of the water instead of sinking and pulling your stuff underneath unnecessarily. All right, well, let's go ahead and try that other float rod out. Now remember, this is the stationary float rod. It's on a spinning reel, and it's the Okuma. Cascade Pro, basically is what that is, and it's an 10-foot 6 float rod. I mean, you can throw casting gear on this too. I just use it for a floating rod. Yeah, I'm using no worms because we can't use bait on the Deschutes River. I'm using a jig, a marabou jig is what I'm using underneath the float. And the other one's going to be a different color marabou jig, but it'll be underneath the slip float. Okay, we'll go ahead and grab that other rod. I've had this one a long time. Some people will laugh at me because it's pink, but let them laugh if they must. That's on them. So this is the 9-foot Okuma SST. It says ladies edition, but I'm not a lady. I have daughters and granddaughters, and I have a wife. So I'm going to use pink rods because I love my wife and kids and stuff. So this one is a 9-foot medium heavy action rod with a Shimano Corrado. It's a 301E. The one just means that it's a left-handed drill. I like left-handed drills. And so this one's going to be, I'm going to start out throwing a orange marabou jig. That's 8 pound. That's going to be an 8-pound leader there. And then I've got a 1/4 ounce lead, or not lead, but still weight, barrel swivel. And what I got is a slip float here. See? And there's beads just to keep it from going up into the, up past the bobber stop. And so, and then here's, up here we got the bobber stop right there. So that's what it stops it from going any further. And so we're gonna start out at, I think it's 7 feet is what we're starting out at. So we're gonna start out a little bit deeper than what we were doing with the stationary float, basically. And basically what happens is I can roll all the way up to the float and cast this basically. And that's where a slip float comes in handy, because when you don't have as much room to cast, and you don't have, that way you don't have 7-8 feet behind you catching the grass and the weeds and everything else behind you. So yeah, that's what they're there for, is to imitate a insect or a leech or a shrimp or something that they might naturally eat. Yeah. This kind of rod here in Oregon's about a $90 rod. So I mean, it's not the cheapest rod, but it's not the most expensive rod either. So that's what's nice about Okuma, is they make affordable rods. And some people are going to look at me and say, a $90 rod, I can't afford that. Which, that's one of those things, is what's affordable to me, because I fish for a living, may not be affordable for the average person, but they do have cheaper versions of rods and stuff. So it's just one of those things where you got to shop around and find one that you like. Now the reel, on the other hand, was like a $300 reel. Now I don't recommend buying a $300 reel unless you're using it as much as I'm using it. Mostly sea run trout right now and whitefish. But these Corrados are meant for bass fishing, in this 300 series is made more for like uh, pike and uh, muskie fishing. This 300 series. Basically, why I have the more expensive reel is because I got tired of tearing up the smaller bait casters because they just wouldn't last. So basically what I did was I started looking for rods or reels that would still cast really, really good and bigger and would hopefully last longer. And so this reel I've had for what, 10 years I think. So, and it's still fishing fine. So you figure the amount of money that it costs to buy it, but for the amount of years that I've been able to use it, it is expensive, that's for sure. Well, I'm not rich by any means. Basically what it means is I work hard to be able to buy stuff like this. I'm not I'm not rich by any means. Yep, Okumas, man, they're built to last. That's for sure. Basically, if you see me tipping and stuff like that, it's because I'm not on level rocks. And so I'm swaying back and forth trying to keep my balance. And of course, like with the other rod, we're starting in close and we're going to work it further and further out and try different depths. Because you never know what depth these fish are going to be at. Hopefully, this kind of stuff is educational to you guys and you guys are liking this kind of content. There's a lot of things I don't recommend just because of the price. Like the reels. I like the reels. I spend a little bit more money on them, but I don't recommend it for the weekend angler who's going to fish once or twice a year, or once or twice a month. Basically, if you're going to be fishing as much as I do, spending a little bit more money might be worth your time. Well, there are other rods, like Okuma. They have different. They have similar styles of rods for less. The reason why I bought this was just because of my wife and my kids and my grandbabies. Basically, that's why I bought the pink rod. So, basically, I don't know what kind of stores you got where you're at, but if you have Akumas sold where you're at, basically you can look around at different prices because they do have more affordable rods. They have $40-$50 rods that'll do probably just as good as this rod does. Because I have some cheaper rods. I think the cheapest one I've got is like a $38 rod of theirs, which is a great rod. So they do have some. Well, you don't want to stay in one spot too long, but I mean, before I started live streaming, I fished this spot. I went downriver. I fished other spots. Basically, what I'll do is I'll fish a section of river. I'll fish it one way, go down, fish another section of river. If I got time, I'll come back. I'll fish another section of river. Not on the state side, you don't need a tribal permit, but to fish on the reservation side, you do need a tribal permit. And the part straight across from me, you can't fish even with a tribal permit. There's only certain parts of the river you can fish with a tribal permit. And that's like, I don't know, you've drifted, so you know where Trout Creek probably is and Dry Creek is on the reservation side. Those are areas where you can fish with the tribal permit. Where's my thought? But yeah, not staying in one spot too long, but remember, you can always come back and visit that spot with a different style of fishing. Because like this morning, I used a side planer um, and a megalith this morning. So that's how I fished it this morning. So then now I'm back here at this spot again, fishing a totally different style. So between this morning and when I first started fishing, it's been about 2 hours since I fished this spot. So, I mean, that's not a long time, but sometimes that's all you need in order to catch a fish. Sometimes you ain't even got to leave a spot, fish it all day, and you'll catch fish. But I don't recommend that. I recommend moving around, trying different areas, but give yourself as many opportunities as you can and run as many different things through a stretch of river that you can, because that gives you more opportunity. Okay. Oh wow, bamboo! Wow, I've got a bamboo fly rod. um, I definitely want to go to different places. I definitely want to go to different places to fish. That's definitely the Philippines is a bucket list, just because I got friends from the Philippines. Um, like South America's bucket list. Well, he might. You just never know. I mean, Santa Claus does miracle things, that's for sure. Yeah, yeah. The road's just right up top here. Definitely got the highway right above me here. So yeah, definitely got a lot of passing vehicles. So yeah. Yeah, I know one guy. I know a guy who, when he fishes this area, he may only cast in that one spot 15, 20 times, and then he's moving to the next spot, which is fine. I mean, if you're not catching fish, why not? You know, why not move to another area? But I'm just saying that give yourself a fair opportunity, throw several different things through that stretch, through that spot, and it'll give you a better opportunity to catch fish. Just because it doesn't hit one thing doesn't mean it won't hit another thing. It's like the one I caught on Thanksgiving Day. I threw one jig through it, didn't get anything. Made a switch very first cast. I hit one right in the nose. Well, right in the mouth, but you know the nose is right there at the mouth, anyways. So. I'm not real sure what they use. Um, I just know people from the Philippines, and sometimes they don't even use rods. Is what they'll do is they'll build like with bamboo. They'll make like levees to lower the water and stuff, so that they can produce, or so they can harvest the fish. Is what they do. Is they'll they'll take bamboo and they'll stake it into certain bodies of water, and then they'll be able to fluctuate the levels of the water. What they do, but I'm almost certain that they do use bamboo rods in the Philippines too. Got some salad. Do it out there a little bit further this time. So I got all them weeds behind me. I'm trying to dip my rod so far back to cast, and I keep snagging them once in a while. So no, I don't do any duck hunting in the river. I don't do a lot of hunting for ducks. Once in a while, when somebody asks me to go with them, I go, and then I get comments that you know. So I don't put out a lot of duck hunting videos. So because of the comments that I've gotten, you know, just it's like, you know, I'm more of a fisherman anyway. So let me go catch me a fish instead of a duck. Well, I want to catch a steelhead, which is a sea run trout, rainbow trout, that is born in fresh water. And then basically what they do is they go out to the ocean for 3 to 5 years or something like that. And then they migrate back to spawn in fresh water. That's what they do. Somebody sent a pair of eyes, so I'm looking. All right, thank you. Oh, you guys have sea run trout there too? Nice. Um, well, you got to get out there and go fishing. Then can't let the fog and the cold stop you from fishing if you just want to get out there and catch a fish. See me, I'm out here freezing around. Well, not really freezing around. When you keep yourself moving and doing different things, you don't really get too awfully cold, I don't think. You'll see me once in a while move away from the camera, go make a cast, and then come back. So. Just the angle I want to cast at. Right now I'm using a marabou jig, an orange marabou jig, underneath a float. No, I've never fished the Feathered River. Or, well, no. I can't say that I've ever fished those rivers. Yeah, I've never fished those rivers before. I haven't fished in California. That's another place I'd like to fish eventually. Couch fishing? How does that work, bro? All right, you got a little video game or something, or a computer game you're fishing off of? But yeah, California is another place I'd like to go. I hear they got good salmon fishing, steelhead fishing, good saltwater fishing too. The Delta I hear is pretty good fishing. The California Delta. The Sacramento, I've heard of that place. I've never heard of Feathered River. That's how you're fishing, just watching me fish, huh? I don't know that that's much fun at this moment. I'm not catching, I'm not literally slaying them today, but that's steelhead fishing for you. If you've ever steelhead fished, then you know it can be a fish of 10,000 casts. It really, truly can be. Um, I don't know if bait would help or not, being that we're not allowed to use bait. I don't know that that would really help or not. I mean, I just don't know. It's not something that I'm real familiar with for steelhead fishing. I've fished on the coast a couple times for steelhead and using bait over there on the coast and didn't catch anything. That kind of, I think that would be fun. Put a couch out there in the middle of the river and just kind of drift down and fish while you're drifting down the river. That might be fun. If I can get enough people to go in with the floating couch with me, we may do something like that. That would be fun. Thanks for the idea. We may we may have to do something like that. That yeah, that that might be fun. I'm gonna have to start looking for a floating couch to put out there in one body of water in one way or another. That might be fun. Yeah, fishing licenses are not cheap. People say, "Oh, fishing's affordable," and all that other stuff, but it really depends on what you're fishing for and if you can use the cheapest gear. Not necessarily the cheapest gear, but the most affordable, tackle. Because like when you're steelhead fishing, you're using a $4 jig, a $5 float. You're using you're using all these things that aren't exactly cheap, and because the laws say you can't use this, you can't use that. So you got all these fancy lures, and they're all 5, 6, some of them $10. It's not really that cast cost efficient. Really, it's not. 300. Yeah. Yeah, some places are like that. The fishing can be harsh because, I mean, maybe it's overfishing that's caused the fishing to be bad. I don't know. I don't know the situation over there. But yeah, sometimes you have to drive to go fishing. But so many places, that's the way they live. That's how they support their families, by fishing. And unfortunately, sometimes that's not the best thing for government to shut that stuff down. Because that's how people feed themselves. Yeah, we use artificial eggs, and that's actually what the bead is on top of my float is. It's a bead, but because we can't use soft plastics, we have to use those hard beads. And I've caught fish off the hard beads, so they do work. We just can't use any soft stuff as well as bait. But luckily for us, we can use stuff like this, um, Procure Lady Tuna. We can use stuff like that, so that's a plus. I mean, I'm not saying that it's helped me to slay them, but if we can give ourselves a better opportunity, I feel like we need to, because it can be hard to do that. Yeah. Well, I'm from Missouri originally, so I'm going to wear a Chiefs hat. Now for work, my day job, I like a St. Louis hat because of St. Louis Cardinals. It's red. Mostly what you see me wearing is red. Kansas City is red. I'm going to wear a red hat. So, when the Rams were in Kansas City, or in St. Louis, I was not a Ram fan. I did root for them when they were in the Super Bowl, but that was it. Spangalo, okay. Parley Ingalls. 250 miles. Wow, that is a long ways to go. Well, I'm glad you can fish through me. I don't know that I'm doing you any good, though. I mean, I've been fishing pretty hard all morning, and I still haven't caught a fish. So, yeah. I wish the fishing was better for you guys, but sometimes that's just the way it is. And sometimes I have to take a break and catch up on all the talk. So, sorry if I wasn't fishing for a moment, but you know, I know the Bills took us out, but that's seems like the Bills do that to us every year in the regular season. It seems like they like to beat us during the regular season. Yeah, I think that's probably what it's going to be. But I don't think it's going to be the Bills. I don't think it's going to be the Bills. I think it's going to be Kansas City and Detroit. I could be wrong though. Who knows? I think it's. I think you're probably right though on at least one of the teams. Just not the second one. The Chiefs are going to get it put together by the time it comes playoff time. And if they don't, then we deserve not to go to a three-peat, you know? I'm not going to complain one way or another. Anyways, let's get off the fishing subject. Let's just get back to fishing. That's what we're supposed to be doing, right? Not talking about Chiefs and Bills. Are you guys having fun yet? Are you guys enjoying yourselves? I know I am. That little Chiefs thing kind of got me smiling a little more. At least, hey, it makes me happy to hear people are talking. Try not to flop over. Fishing for sea run trout. Basically what it boils down to. Steelhead. Basically what they are is a rainbow trout that's born in fresh water, goes out to salt water, lives their life out there for 3 to 5 years, comes back bigger, stronger, healthier, and they come back up into the rivers to spawn. So that's what a steelhead's life is. They come back just like a salmon, though. But the salmon are going to die. The steelhead don't. They spawn and then they go back to the ocean. So when you get them really big ones, those ones are nice because they're really old fish. Now, I'd like to say every time I live stream I catch them, but I don't. I like to say every time I go out fishing I catch them, but I don't. That's just steelhead fishing for you, though. I think after this cast, we'll go ahead and switch to some casting gear and try that out, because what we're doing is not working. We've tried 2 different color jigs. We've tried 2 different styles of floats to catch a fish. None's worked, so why not try something different, right? Maybe we'll get bit. Maybe we won't. But you guys are awesome for joining us. I appreciate that. All right, let's get the other rods out. Yep, that's definitely fishing. That's definitely fishing for you. All right. Pick this rod up for the moment. Get a different rod out. So basically what I do is I carry 4, sometimes 5 different rods with me whenever I'm fishing. So I'll carry 2 jig bobbers, or 2 jig and bobber rods, and then I will also carry casting rods for spinners and stillies or spoons and stuff like that. So that way I've got options, and hopefully my options are good and I'm gonna catch fish. So the third rod we're gonna pull out today in this live stream is another Shimano Corrado. This is a smaller version. This is the 201 HG. See right there. It's 715 gear ratio type Dillinger bobs, or 7.4 I guess. Got some Power Pro braid, high vis. Got some 8-pound fluorocarbon leader, and then I've also got a Stilia spoon. And basically, I'm gonna throw that out there and just bounce. And this is on a 8.6 medium action rod. It's the SS10 Okuma. So you see, and the reason why I carry so much is so I don't have to tie and do all that stuff. It's just to have something ready at all times, just to try different things. For some reason, I haven't put the rod that's got my bead fishing stuff in the car this year. I don't know why I haven't. And some people do bobber dogging with beads. I've not done that. Usually when I'm throwing beads, is what I'm doing is I've got a slinky weight, and basically what I'm doing is I'm throwing it out there and just bouncing along the bottom, and hoping that a steelhead or a trout or whatever will bite. And so basically, same thing with this setup is I'm going to start in close and I'm going to work myself further and further out, trying to effectively fish the whole body of water. Of course, that's impossible because it's such a big body of water. But you can increase your chances of catching more fish by fishing it more. I'm going to say thoroughly is what I'm going to say. All right. And seeing when you cast in close, because it's a kind of a heavier thing, you don't drift nearly as far in to the bank. But the further out you get, the more you can drift into the bank. And my wife just said, "Fishy, fishy, 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 fishy." I know, right? Here, fishy. Here, fishy. Why aren't you biting? She likes to get on there and comment once in a while I'm live streaming, or even when I'm not live streaming. And who knows, I might have given up on the jig and bobber a little too early, maybe switching colors or whatever. But you know, sometimes it's good just to throw something different than what you're already throwing. And a little further out, a little further out, a little further out. And basically, what you're doing is you're drifting and you're bouncing along the bottom. Just um, some people would use it like a fly analogy where you're swinging. Same thing. It's just drifting. And basically, what you're doing is you're trying to drift in to the bank. And a lot of times, I've actually seen on clear days, I've seen a steelhead actually follow my stuff in, and if I didn't see it and drop it without and dropped it and stopped moving the lure, I would have never caught that fish because I would have never known it was there. But some of them clear days, you can actually see them following your stuff in, and then you just stop it and bam. We may end up getting done with the live stream here pretty quick because the battery's getting low, stuff like that, and I'm gonna have to charge it for charging and stuff like that. But for now, we're okay. We're okay as long as you guys are still watching. I'm still live streaming. So, hey, thanks for joining us. I'd like to hook a nice fish for you guys though. That would make my day. Thing about Thanksgiving Day, that video that I shot on Thanksgiving Day, I hooked two steelhead that day and I only landed one. See, now I'm starting to work further out, but I'm casting upstream to keep it bouncing on the bottom. Sometimes is what I'll throw out there and I'll just let out line little by little, keep it down on the bottom. And don't get me wrong, them steelhead, they'll bite way out there as well. Up here, by the where the river crosses, where the Deschutes River bridge crosses over onto the reservation, is where I'm at. So off of 26, Highway 26, um, just before you go onto the reservation. Because that side right there is the reservation. Oh yeah, I see wild horses all the time. I live over there. There's wild horses all over the place. Wild cows too. Wild dogs, wild cats, you name it. We got them over there. The reason why I fish this area so much is because I live right there. So, so it's a quick drive, you know, and I can do this before work or whatever be the case. So I like to come here and fish and have a good time and live stream because I've done a lot of live streaming from here this year. So that's fun. My wife and my kids are all from across the river. I'm practically from there. I mean, I've lived there my whole life. And when you're reeling in, you don't want to burn it in. You want to reel it in kind of slow because you want to stay near the bottom, and you know you'll get that occasional bite when you're reeling it in too. So now jig and bobber is a little bit different story. Um, you don't take your time reeling it in. You really do just burn a jig and a bobber in. But like your casting gear like this, you don't want to burn it in because you're missing fish then. I've never caught a fish on a jig and a bobber reeling it in. I don't know if the bobber just makes too much noise or causes too much issues. I don't know. Really couldn't tell you. A lot of my lures, you'll see that I'll take the treble hooks off and I'll put a single sidewash hook on there. Yeah, they're fun to catch. They are a lot of fun to catch. Yeah, definitely a lot of fun to catch them red bands. Fun fish. Can't say enough about that. I've caught a few fish fly fishing this river, but for whatever reason, fly fishing this river since I've been a YouTuber hadn't really been like my goal, I guess. So you don't see a lot of that from me on the river. But if you watch the channel, you'll see that there's videos of me fly fishing like Fall River and Crane Prairie and Ochoco Reservoir, Prineville Reservoir. I've even fly fished haystacks, so yeah, definitely a lot of places to fly fish in Oregon. That's for sure. A lot of fun places too. Still got to get out there and fly fish the ocean. Fly fish some of that salt water. I see people doing it, so. Crooked River is another fun place to fly fish too. A lot of people say, "Oh, the catch out there at Crooked though is trash fish," but if you know me, there's no such thing as a trash fish. They all got a purpose. They all got a reason. Not their fault that they eat what we want to catch, you know. Well, my battery's getting down there. I'm gonna have to charge it up. So I'm thinking this is probably gonna be the last cast. If we don't get one here, then that's it for the day for the live stream because the battery is getting pretty low, and I'm gonna have to shut it off anyways. So. Make this a good drift, I hope. We'll definitely be back out fishing on Saturday. Probably do a live stream then. So if you guys are interested, we'll be watching for us on Saturday. That time I let out a lot of line and casted it out there as far as I could. So, and that's because I just wanted to swing longer and take longer to get done, being that it's the last one on the live stream. Rock cod, they like to bite a lot. Tell you what, them rock cods, you can fry them, bake them, smoke them, dry them. They'll break your teeth no matter how you fix them. They some hard on your teeth, that's for sure. one of these days I'll